What is going on, everybody? Jumbo Thick here, back with more Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, our 4th edition campaign, Rise of the Forsaken. I am your lovely host and game master, Jumbo Thick, once again, and I am joined by my players, Mr. Doobie209 and Jumbo Smooth. If you guys want to briefly introduce yourselves.
Hey everyone, I'm Jumbo Smooth. We're playing the role of Marius Wolf. I just learned how to see in the dark.
You did.
So I'm excited about that. Excited to see that, you know.
Yeah.
So, and hopefully we don't run into any more woodland creatures that have teeth.
Of course, of course.
What's going on, guys? Doobie209 here, playing Seamus McGreedy. Coming off the last episode with a pretty sweet pair of boots.
Oh yeah,
make me look pretty edgy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then a little tiny sword that I'm a little happy about.
Yeah, we'll see how happy you are about that as the game progresses. We'll see how well that goes.
Yes.
But it is important, you know. A few people have asked, so we have been leveling every game after every session. So their characters have greatly progressed over since when we first originally started the campaign, because this is session 17 for us. It's pretty impressive, guys. I'm not gonna lie. We've been doing this a few months now, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
With that out of the way, let's do a brief recap on the events that have taken place. So Seamus and Marius, we need like a name for you guys as like a dynamic duo or something. We need something, but I don't know. Full workshop.
If I was about to say, yeah, if someone from the listeners want to, you know, throw out some ideas in the comments, maybe, you know.
Hey, yeah, that wouldn't be bad. That wouldn't be bad at all.
Yeah,
so maybe we'll pose that to them, to some of the listeners, if they want to come up with a name for our duo of characters right now. That'd be awesome. So yeah, Seamus and Marius, you guys have found yourself in the Far East through a turn of unfortunate events and the promise of a silver piece. You ended up in the land of Nippon, the very harsh and very strange environment that it is, inhabited by apparently very large tigers that mauled Marius in his sleep, and of course, dark elves that have beached themselves on the nearby shore, who have also assailed you. You survived all of that, only to almost die at the gate of a nearby village. The only village you've come across thus far of any kind of civilization, we'll call it. Kind of. You ended up through a very treacherous fall and some lucky rolls, surviving, almost being thrown off of a cliff by a waterfall into the rocks below. You managed to infiltrate the village in a way, kind of. Through happenstance, you stumbled upon some dark elves that were possibly taking slaves of some of the nearby villagers, unbeknownst to the village at large. Saved them, murdered several of the dark elves in the process, though some did get away, if you remember correctly. You did, however, save the women. And
foreshadowing!
There was some foreshadowing. I don't know how that happened, but so you managed to save the women in the hot spring episode that we had, and were taken in by the villagers, seemingly taken in by the villagers. You were eventually, through some strange interactions, since you can't speak with the locals, since they speak a very strange language, and yours is probably strange to them as well. You somehow ended up at what you thought was a feast in your honor. There was drinking, there was dancing, there was merrymaking, and then there was the woos of some of the village women who dragged both of you to a large abode of the apparent leader of said village, and you fell to their siren calls and were poisoned. And you did not die, unfortunately, but you were taken captive And through another series of events, you managed to escape captivity, though you were shackled to one of your Dark Elf friends who may have possibly threatened your life several times throughout the adventure thus far. Venris, if you recall his name. Not that it's important anymore, because after you escaped the cage, which was then blown up by a kamikaze Nipponese soldier, you lost the majority of your equipment, you found out. You were shackled to a Dark Elf, and then you managed to, after a day or so, you managed to get the shackles off, but in the process, sadly, Venris lost his life as his throat was ripped out by a hideous beast. And then on top of that, a very interesting set of events took place in the what I believe you guys were referring to as the Hellforge, where a creature was apparently working on some kind of magical items or something of the like through a flesh anvil, and just a lot of disturbing imagery to be had. Marius ended up eating some of the creature, which he did puke up completely due to a good roll for himself. It was very disturbing and obviously mutated and changed in some ways. That was a matter of fact, that was the first time you actually used the essence of Tarkag, the potion that you guys got at the end of your last adventure. So that's pretty awesome. Got to see that in action.
Yeah.
You then, Seamus, however, due to curiosity, I'm not sure why, grabbed a hold of the sword that the creature was working on, which was man-sized, despite its very large nature. The sword bonded somehow, some way, with Seamus, who, if you remember, will have a brand that has been kind of etched into your hand, almost necrotically eaten away. And something happened to said sword, and it is obviously magical in nature. You also began bleeding profusely out of all the orifices in your face when you held it, so there might be something a little diabolical about it. But that happened. Then Marius, his curiosity must have been piqued, because he grabbed a hold of a mask, one of the strange masks you guys have come across, and once he put it on, he saw a very interesting realm, or possibly shade to the world that you're in now, and experienced some horrifying sights, and maybe some very interesting ones. We'll see how it's played off in the coming adventures, as only time will tell what will happen with that mask. I really hope that at some point you guys, I don't know, find out about magic stuff, because you guys don't know anything about magic, so it makes it very hard for me to describe things to you. But that's it. Then, after you left said Hellforge, you began hunting for food, foraging for food, since you have pretty much nothing left. You came across a deer, and when it turned, it had serrated teeth in its maw, and it charged you and was going to kill you, or attempt to do so. But Seamus managed to not only shoot it with one of his repeater crossbow bolts, but then, in an act of bravery, unbeknownst to probably you, Marius, or maybe foolhardiness, maybe the sword has done something to him, charged the charging beast and slayed it with a strike from his sword, and in the process, something interesting happened, as the sword apparently absorbed something from the creature and actually healed Seamus for a wound. So only time will tell what will come with that as well. So that about brings us up to speed. Did I leave anything important out that you guys can think of?
Marius is still barefoot?
No, he has
no,
he has the wooden clogs that you gave him.
Yeah.
You have your disgusting, like, creepily fashioned dark elf boots, and you gave him your wooden clogs, so he's currently wearing wooden clogs on his feet. But otherwise, they are open toed. They're not like, it's not like, closed shoes. So your feet are still exposed to the elements, but you at least have something to protect you from the ground itself. But I guess that's it. So, I believe we were leaving off with you guys bedding down for the night. You had just eaten your share of the deer. I'm going to go ahead and just skip the watches. Nothing eventful happens. And we are going to awake upon the morrow. Having said that you guys probably took your own watches and all that, the usual things you've been doing at night. And the day is yours. You regain. Go ahead and both of you guys roll me endurance checks plus 20 to see how many hit points you regain. Or wounds, I should say.
I'm already at full health, so...
Okay, how about you, Seamus?
You said an endurance check?
Yeah, plus 20.
Ooh, that is going to be an 8.
Oh wow. So yeah, just you do the math. Your toughness bonus, so 5 for you, and then how many success levels? That's how many wounds you gain back. That's quite a bit. So are you back at full? Or are you close?
Let's see. That's 7. Toughness bonus. I think I'm going to be close if I'm not at full health.
Okay,
Like
yeah.
16
You recovered significant amounts. Yeah, so obviously you rested very well. And of course, having found fresh meat, though it may or may not have been tainted, we'll find out soon, from the savage deer that you slew. You managed to suck it, since you can't really chew right now because of your broken jaw, through your teeth, kind of suck it through a gap in your teeth and eat it that way. But obviously you gained quite a bit of sustenance from it. So the day is yours. You guys are near the path that you guys were originally on. You're nearby, close enough that where you guys can see it. The path that the apparent samurai had taken away from you during the attack on the cage that you guys were in by the beastmen. So what would you guys like to do?
Can we see the big mountain from here?
Oh, yes. You are actually very close to said mountain right now. It's hard to judge distance because it's such a large thing that it's hard to get the scale of how far away you are from it. But you get the idea that you are relatively close. Like, if you had to make a guess, you'd probably say you're probably within a day or so of reaching the foot of the mountain, maybe sooner.
All right. Seamus, I think we should head to that mountain over there.
Hi, that's the way we got here, so hopefully that's the way to get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was a different mountain, Seamus. A different mountain.
Oh.
This is a bigger mountain. Going to the bigger mountain.
Oh.
My friend, I feel like I've had some visions from that scroll that unfortunately we do not possess anymore. That involves that mountain.
That piece of paper that you lost.
So I think it's the key to getting back home. So let's I guess just make our way, see what we can find. I'd like to, if I could I put on my raven mask and look at the mountain?
Oh, okay. So there's a bit of a beard. If you go down to the path, the woods are cleared, and so you'd have a better view. Would you like to make your way down there, or do you want to look through the trees at it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Kind of like a clearing.
Yeah. The path is wide. It's about probably 20 feet side to side, where it has been the woods have obviously been cleared. It looks like it is not heavily traveled. Like some of the foliage is kind of encroaching on it, but it looks like it's traveled enough that at least the parts in the center are easy enough for you to see the mountain in its massiveness, its awe-inspiring girth. It's so tall that it apparently goes up into the clouds and maybe further. But you grip the mask and slide it onto your face, and a very similar sensation befalls you. Go ahead and make me a perception test, plus 30.
Okay. That's a 56 out of 64.
Out of 64. Okay, so a degree of success. a success. That was close.
I barely made it.
That was close. That was close. Okay, so you slide the mask on, and immediately your senses dull once again, similar to what happened before. The world turns an opaque color, just gray, like everything is missing. And Seamus, are you standing in front of him or behind him?
I assume I'm standing behind him because he seems like he knows where he's going.
So yeah, he's looking up, and you place the mask on. So you once again, the world shifts, and it's kind of pieces of it are kind of shimmering, almost like in smoke. Like the shadows are stretching off of them in various angles and things. It's a very strange occurrence to happen. But you see before you, as you gaze up the mountain, you see the familiar threads that you were seeing before, and you're seeing them attached to what you can only relate to as like currents of air, like winds blowing. And there's various colors that kind of glitter across the sky, and they are attached to different places around the world. And some pieces of like the nearby foliage might glow for a second and then dim. And they are actually glowing in color, which is why you can see them so easily. It's very strange how this happens. You can see a thread moving over your shoulder in Seamus's direction. It is a very deep purple color, almost black. You have seen him before in this, so you can surmise that whatever this thread is, it is attaching itself to Seamus, specifically to the sword. You also see, as you gaze up at the mountain, you can see that there is the waterfall flowing. The waterfall is a kaleidoscope of colors coming off of this mountain. It is very wide, obviously, and you can see that there is something very strange about it, since you can see just all kinds of colors, and some colors that you don't even have names for being present inside this waterfall. Up in the clouds are dotted, and almost like thunder, like lightning kind of sparking in the clouds. You can see explosions of color. Purple, blue, red, yellow, brown, all kinds of colors rumbling together, sporadically, not all at once. And that's all that you see right now. But there's obviously something ominous about the colors condensing towards the top of the mountain.
Yeah. I'll take the mask off.
Okay. You remove the mask. Stow it, I'm assuming, or do you just kind of leave it on your person somewhere?
I kind of think I have it kind of like, the way I envision it, kind of like tied around my neck or something.
Okay.
Is it
yeah, you could easily fashion like a clasp or something, and you could
okay.
You could, yeah, I mean, hell, you could even just kind of move it to the side, so it's still kind of like on your head a little bit, if you want, or you could have it dangling off of you. It's your choice, really.
Yeah, I kind of envision it kind of off to the side.
Okay, so you remove the mask, your senses return, and the tingling sensation across your body ends.
Seamus, this mask, it shows all these weird colors in the sky. It's hard to explain. I don't understand. But there's some dark purple wind or string attached to your sword. I don't know what that means, but there you go. I mean, this place is so confusing and terrifying. I think we should head towards that waterfall, though. There seems to be all sorts of color coalescing there in the waterfall.
I'll kind of look down at my sword and be like, oh, alright, Marius, if you say so.
All right.
By the way,
Go ahead.
that's a cool looking mask you got there.
Thanks. If you ever want to try it on, let me know.
Is it like me rat one I had?
No. I don't smell any better. I look at things, and I don't know if I told you, but there's some demon that tried to kill me in that hill forge back there. Scared me to death. Oh, I don't think this is something we should use too terribly often. But if you ever want to have a go, just let me know.
Just let me know, Marius. If you're ever too afraid to put it on, I'll wear it for you. I protect you.
Thanks, McGreedy. Thanks.
All right. Are you guys on your way now?
Heading our way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's leading?
I might let old Seamus lead. He's better with the perception than I am.
Okay. Old Seamus is taking the lead. Do you want to... So we can either do this one of two ways. Either both of you can roll perception, or Seamus, you can roll with plus 10.
Probably him plus 10, I would assume.
Yeah, I think plus 10 is a good way to
go. Go ahead and do that. Since we'll say that since Marius is trained in perception now, he can aid you as you're searching.
That is a 17 out of 61.
Okay, very good.
4 levels.
Nice.
Yeah, 4 levels of success. Okay, very, very good. All right, so you easily can follow this path. It would have been easy to follow regardless, but you're keeping your eyes out. Is there anything in particular you are looking for as you're moving?
I'll be, since we just ate, so I'd probably just be making sure there's no more dark elves or these strange
looking for
people,
like hidden, maybe possible ambushes, things like that.
Yeah, some traps.
Okay, some traps. Okay. Did you harvest? I mean, you harvested quite a bit of meat. Did you take it with you?
Yeah,
I feel like
we
cooked as much
as you could. So I'll probably give you. I'll probably give you probably 3 days of cooked rations. I mean, it's a huge deer. But probably just a few days before it starts to spoil, since you don't have anything to preserve it with. Like, you guys don't have any salt with you, unfortunately. I'll give you a handful of days. Matter of fact, just roll me 2d4, Marius, since you're the one who's kind of responsible for this.
Okay. That'd be 6.
Okay, so we'll say you've got 6 days worth of rations that you think will keep for that long, with it being cooked. Okay. Though towards the end, you guys might have to make checks if you partake in eating it to see if you get sick, and then it will obviously be spoiled after 6 days. So we'll just keep that in mind. All right, so we are moving in the direction of the mountain. With your check, Seamus, you hear occasionally. You go through about half the day walking in the direction of this mountain, following this path. You hear growls off in the distance. Sometimes they're close, sometimes they're far, and they're definitely the growls that you heard of the very unique beastmen of Nippon in the distance. They're obviously shadowing you, but not closing for some reason. It's kind of strange. But you do hear that happen, but they're not closing distance with you. So you continue on, the both of you, and as you're walking, you now get the sense that you are going to easily make it to this mountain in time. You make it all the way to the base of the mountain about mid-afternoon, and there is a stream to cross. It's very, very wide. There is a bridge A very sturdy bridge built out of stone. It is probably, if you had to guess, 60, 80 feet across. There are pillars supporting it towards the center. And it is definitely wide enough for probably the equivalent of a wagon or two to sit side by side and cross. So it's a very wide bridge. And there are interesting kind of archways above it, similar to the ones that you saw at the nearby village. Though these appear to be older, they're made out of stone and not wood. And they have interesting symbols and the language of Nippon kind of carved into them. Are you guys going to cross, or what are you doing in this moment?
I'll look to Marius and tell him, Marius, I don't know about you, but I've had enough of water on this trip. I think we might want to take this bridge.
Sounds good, friend. Let's cross it.
Okay. So, you cross over the bridge. As you're crossing, nothing happens. It doesn't fall apart. Something doesn't jump out of the river and kill you. With Seamus's perception check, you would know if something was going to happen. There is a sense of vertigo, Seamus, though, because you just know. Now, it is wide enough, and there's not like they're not handrails, but they're kind of like solidly built sides of the wall of the bridge that are probably about waist level. So you're not going to need a check, but if you were in a strained situation, a check might be had to cross said river, just so you know, in the future. Not that anything would ever happen, but in the future. So you guys cross the bridge, make it to the other side, and about 100 feet from you, there is a path that is opened up. It appears that there are carved steps. You have no idea how many. Carved, and they just arch up the mountain. There are trees at the base, so you can't get an idea of how far up they go. But this is obviously where the path is leading. The steps are made out of wood, oddly enough. Like somebody has cut and treated wood and made steps up the side of this mountain. They're built into the actual mountain itself. So it's not like they're just kind of hanging above nothing. But almost like a mountain trail that you might find in the real world, where pieces of earth are supported by pieces of wood. And they lead in the direction of the mountain, if you guys choose to follow.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. As you approach, it's heavily wooded, but you follow the path, and the first thing you would notice is that the side of the mountain, it would be on your left as you start coming to these steps, and it is just a sheer face of earth. To your right, there's open space. Currently, it's covered by trees. The dense kind of forest that's at the base of this mountain, supporting where the waterfall is rushing nearby. You can hear the current very loudly. As you begin to ascend, within a few minutes, you are above the tree line, and it is just open space to your right. Endless nothing. You can see for miles around you. Are you guys going to continue up this path until it gets dark, or how far are we going to go?
Yeah, kind of figure we go till it's kind of dark, I guess, or till we find like a place that's nice for a camp, I guess.
Okay. You begin ascending the mountain for a few more hours, and that's when the moon starts creeping out with the ugly, hideous green moon shadowing it, far behind it, not in front. And you get the idea that it's probably time to camp out for the night. As you are ascending, you will notice that every mile or so up this mountain, which it is not a very steep climb. It's a very gradual climb. So you won't need to make any checks yet. But as you're ascending, you notice about every mile or so there is a shrine. Similar to the ones that you passed by when you first entered into this hateful land. It is decorated very similarly in the blue and gold kind of colors that have been painted on it, though they appear to be very heavily weathered and not as upkept as you saw down by the forest floor and nearby village. There are interesting motifs, very raven-like motifs, very similar to Marius's mask, kind of etched into it as well. And there are candles lining around the base of them. They are not lit, but there are various candles in various states of what's the word? Use. Some of them are taller, some of them are shorter, obviously fulfilling their task, but they are not lit currently, and there are incense and various things kind of shoved into them. And you do see, as you've been passing, there are offerings left at some of these. Some of them have offerings of what appears to be dried food of some kind, pieces of meat, and then you've even seen bundles of that white, what we both know as rice, wrapped in some kind of leaves that have been left at some of these shrines as you are moving. And then you find a spot where it levels out a little bit, but you're still on steps. And you get the idea that this is probably as flat as it's going to be to make camp. Would you like to do so?
Before we do, could we kind of look out and see if we see anything, or are we still in the trees?
You are well above the tree line at this point. You're a few hours up into the mountain, and you can see an endless expanse of forest. Way off in the distance, you can see the light puffs of smoke that mark the village that you were tricked in, I guess we'll call it. I'm not sure what we would call that. Yeah, there we go, roofied.
Yeah.
We'll call it roofied. You see that off in the distance. You can see the mountain as well, though very small compared to how high you are. Off in the distance as well, the one that you entered in. And you, even from this distance, you can see that massive tree. You can just see kind of the leaves, the pink leaves of the tree that the bodies of the Empire men were hanging from on the side of that mountain.
And then you can also signs of civilization.
Now, if you look off to your left, with Seamus's perception check, you look off to your left and you can see also endless expanse of forest, and about the same distance away from you to the village, you can see that this forest just keeps going, and there's mountain ranges kind of dotting the edges of your vision as you go, various hills and whatnot. But you see off in the distance, you see smoke, but a lot more over the crest of a hill. You get the idea that there might be more civilization a few days in that direction, but you can't see this if there is a city or anything from where you are currently on the mountain. If you go farther up, you might be able to.
Okay.
So are we bedding down for the night?
I think so.
Okay. Are you going to take watches?
Yes.
All right. Go ahead. And who's taking the first watch?
I'll take the first watch.
Okay.
Marius will take the first watch.
Seamus, you are free to get your rest. And Marius, go ahead and give me that perception check.
All right. That's a 20 out of 34.
20 out of 34. All right. You, as the light begins to dim and the sun begins setting over the ocean that you know is at the edge of the tree line, though you can't see it because of the trees. You see as you kind of glance out at the sun setting, you see a dark figure. Very, very obviously far out in the distance. But the fact that you can see it from where you are means that it is impressively large. You saw something similar when you were at the nearby village after you escaped the waterfall. And it has the same kind of shape to it. So whatever it is, it apparently is getting closer and closer. You're not sure, but you do see it off in the distance. The rest of your watch goes very uneventful. There's only 2 ways that you know of to apparently get to you, either from above or below. And it makes for a very easy watch. You do hear the cawing of birds at night. And you do see one of those silver owls fluttering in the distance, apparently making its way up the mountain in the direction you're climbing. But that's it for your watch.
Can I... Well...
Go ahead.
Would you allow me to... Can I put on my mask and look at that owl?
Sure. So as you notice the
I
owl...
would like to do...
You go ahead and put your
quick
mask on.
peek-see, you know?
It is nighttime. It is dark. The moon is out. Both moons are out. I need you to make me a cool test.
Spooky.
Yep, just a cool test.
Are you a cool test? Okay.
Yep.
That's going to be a 54 out of 60.
Ooh, barely. So, this is the first time you've worn the mask at night. You see the bird, and it's making kind of a strange noise, and you pull the mask over to the side, over your face. The same tingling sensation overcomes you. The land takes on that stark gray appearance, and you gaze up at the owl. And the first thing that you see is there is a massive glowing orb, almost as bright as the sun in the sky, almost eclipsing the moon. And you know that this is definitely Morslib, the Chaos Moon. And it is bright, almost as bright as the sun. And you can see the rays penetrating, but and coalescing in certain parts of the nearby foliage and the nearby hills, almost like they're being funneled to certain places. And you see quite a bit of this light is being pulled high above you. It's a little unnerving, and you do see that the owl has almost something superimposed over it. What should have been just a opaque gray owl is actually a swirl of colors. And there's almost demonic features to said owl as it glances down and notices that you're looking at it. And it begins fluttering in your direction.
Well, I take that mask off.
You take the mask off, and the owl is still moving towards you, but as soon as you remove the mask,
fuck away from me.
It banks up and begins flying back up the mountain.
Oh, jeez. Seamus, wake up. It's time for shift. Don't piss off those owls. Watch out for the owls, Seamus.
What are you pissing off owls for?
Oh, I don't know. I looked at it with my Raven mask, and it looked like a monster, and it started flying towards me, and I was scared, Seamus.
Just think you're going crazy, mate.
Maybe I am. This place sucks.
Maybe you are.
And I'm going to bed, Seamus. Do you want my mask?
Alright, I'll keep it handy.
I can untie it and kind of hand it to him.
Okay. You take the mask,
Sees it.
Seamus. Are you going to put it on immediately, or are we going to wait? Or are you going to put it on at all?
Wait.
Okay.
I'll put it on, but I'll put it on later.
Okay. Go ahead and make me just a regular perception test.
That is a 23.
Okay, so you easily similar to before. Nothing really is standing out. It's a very quiet night, actually. You can hear the howls somewhere in the distance occasionally of possibly wolves, maybe beastmen. You're not sure. You do hear the large grumble of a big cat somewhere below you, but nothing in your immediate vicinity.
I will put the mask on.
Okay. All right, Seamus, you shift the mask onto your face. Go ahead and make me a cool test.
Oh, yeah. Good thing I put points in that. Oh, shit. That is going to be a 10 out of 44.
Okay, yeah, so 3 levels of success. That's really good. Okay. So you shift the mask, you put the mask onto your face, and a bizarre tingling sensation overcomes your body, and your senses grow dull, almost like you can't see, hear, or smell. Can't feel nothing. Then suddenly the world shapes into a gray, kind of opaque, with the shadows stretching and moving. Everything's almost colorless. It's very unnerving your first time putting this on. But the sky is brightly lit by Morslib. The energies being funneled around the nearby tree line and everything else. And you have a very similar experience to Marius Wolf. Though with your success levels, you do not see anything too disturbing. You do, however, get the idea that there are large amounts of something. Whatever these threads and these winds are moving, these colors are being pulled towards the top of this mountain specifically. There are other places as well, but the top of the mountain seems to be a big place where lots of them are coalescing. You also would notice, very interesting to just you, Seamus, when wearing this mask, is that as you glance down at your hand, especially the one that you took up the sword in, the brand that has been eaten into your flesh is glowing purple. And it obviously is some kind of symbol, maybe a rune of some kind. You're not sure. But it is glowing a deep purple in your flesh, even when you're not holding the sword. And of course, a thread is being pulled from one of the nearby winds to your sword itself, almost as if it is funneling the very essence of whatever this is into the sword. And it is also that deep purple color. And that's it. That's all you see.
All right.
All right. Your shift
I'll
ends.
just pull the mask off.
Okay. Your shift ends.
Kind of sit there and wait for my shift to end.
Time to wake up, Marius. You awaken. Do you guys want to RP this, or do you want to skip ahead as to getting towards the top of this mountain?
I would probably tell Marius, just like on our way up the mountain, like that I put it on and what I saw.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Marius, you guys can have this conversation if you want.
We'll just have it.
Okay.
I'll just know what he saw. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. All right, so we'll go ahead and go with that. It takes you 3 days to climb this mountain.
Woo! Jesus.
Of steps. 3 days of steps. You're both fully healed at this point if you were missing any hit points. You have 3 days of rations gone. So keep that in mind. You only have 3 more days of rations left. You finally, after 3, and I mean, and as you begin getting closer to the top, it's getting colder. much, much colder. The clouds are getting closer to you. And towards the end, about midday on your third day, you actually breach into the cloud themselves. And you are apparently, it almost feels like you're in a mist, a very damp mist. And as you enter, your feet, as you are just instinctively, monotonously climbing, level off. And you apparently have reached the top of this path, though it is not the top of the mountain. Are you guys going to keep walking?
Do we see anything in our general vicinity right now?
Go ahead and give me perception checks at -20.
Oh, gee.
Because of the very obscured fog around you now.
I got
Go
I
ahead.
got a 36 out of 14.
Okay. How about you, Seamus?
So with my -20, I got a 38 out of 31.
Okay. Do you want to use a fortune point to make it a success?
Yeah, I'll use one of my fortune
Okay.
points.
So you burn a fortune point, and you gleam quite a bit more than Marius. Marius is just kind of dumbfounded after stepping up into this fog, which is obviously clouds. It's almost kind of unnerving. As you enter in, it is silent. There's been lots of wind buffeting you, but suddenly there's just eerie silence. All you can hear are the crunching of your feet as you guys continue walking. Seamus, I'll say at this point you're kind of in the lead. And as you're walking in the fog, you see about 20 feet from you. You see a very large wooden gateway decorated similarly to the shrines you've been passing. And it is painted a very deep blue color with golden paper lanterns swaying very subtly in what little bit of breeze there is. As you get closer, it is starting to get kind of warm. It's been cold, but it is getting surprisingly warm and almost humid. Still quiet, though. With the exception of a very loud thumping sound about every 10 minutes. You hear a thump very far off in the distance. You're not sure. Well, not too far off, but it appears to be echoing off of the mountain itself as you guys are entering apparently some kind of chasm. The wall that you've been following to your left of the mountain itself is kind of fading away, and you can't see the edge anymore in either direction. You're just following this path. With your successful check, do you guys pass through the gateway?
Yes,
Yeah.
I believe we will.
Okay. You begin moving forward. You pass underneath it. You're starting to notice there are very sparse trees that you kind of see in the edges of your vision sometimes. A path is leveled out. You don't appear to be moving up anymore. It appears that, like I said, you're between two sides of the mountain, a natural chasm. Though you can tell you have not reached the top of the mountain because you can see it looms further and further up, much farther past where you can see. You also notice that this valley that you're in appears to have been carved with your success, both by the elements and possibly by other means, perhaps shaped by the hands of men or something else. There is very strange colored vegetation on the edges of the path, which now the path has coalesced into a footpath. It is not very wide as far as you can tell. The trees around you are also exhibiting strange colors. Some of them have spots of gold, spots of silver. Some of them have fluorescent green undertones to the fruit hanging from them. And you do see a whole flock of those birds fly past you and move deeper into the fog itself.
Something about those birds, Seamus.
I don't know, they look pretty harmless to me.
Oh.
As you keep moving forward, with your check just barely being a success, you start to notice that the footpath, like the vegetation, kind of falls away, and it's a little unnerving for a second. And you step forward, and your foot is not on a path anymore. It feels like hardened, almost stone, just like rock. And your foot makes a thump sound as you place your foot onto it. And you can see that the mist is kind of thinning a little bit. And up ahead of you, there's a very, very large entryway, a gate perhaps. It stands roughly 20 feet tall, with very, very large, thick wooden doors encrusted with some of the strange vegetation, some of the vines growing across it. And there's a wall equally high, also made out of wood, that stretches side to side. You can't see the edges of it. There's also, it appears to be a statue, and then you notice there's actually two statues. They're facing outward on both sides of the gate, about 15 feet apart. They stand around 10 feet tall and are apparently sitting cross-legged. But judging from the massive bulk and very prestigious gut, they appear to be carved in the likeness of ogres, you would know after seeing Oro several times. Though carved isn't exactly the right word, as they are unmoving, but they appear to be covered from head to toe in very thick interlocked plates of wooden armor, dyed a deep silver and golden trim. They are unmoving, and they are a little disturbing. What are you guys doing?
Is this door kind of like the door or the gateway that we came into Nippon?
No. This is obviously in it's almost similar to, in fashion, at least from architecturally. It is similar to the gate when you were trying to enter into the village. It has kind of some of the aesthetic elements about it. So this is obviously man-made. Whatever the entrance to whatever the hell you guys came into through the mountain was obviously not man-made.
Are there any weapons around? Like, is there a weapon next to these trolls holding weapons? Or not trolls, ogres?
Go ahead and, if you're interested in the statues.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you going to get closer?
Oh. Can I see it from where I am, you know?
You are about 20 feet out. Go ahead and make me a perception check with minus 20.
Minus 20? Oh. 18 out of 14.
Oh, do you want to make it a success?
Yeah, I do. I do want to make it a success.
Okay, all right. You spend a fortune point. You make it a success. As you kind of step a little bit closer, you notice that the stone that you were on kind of falls away, and suddenly you're in dirt. Very loose dirt. And you don't get too close because you're a little leery of the kind of foreboding statues. And The first thing you notice is that as you glance down at your feet, the dirt is apparently stained red. You've seen similar stains in the earth, especially after the great battle that happened with the Beastmen. This is obviously blood. You're not sure of, what kind or anything. You're not a tracker. But the earth around this gate is stained red. You would also notice with a success that the statues apparently also have elaborately wooden carved masks similar to the one that Seamus was wearing. The rodent kind of features about them.
Rodent ones.
And you do notice that there are now, as you kind of get a little bit closer, that each of them have a 5-foot tall wooden club with about, I'd say, 6-inch spikes placed from the very tip of it to about the halfway point. And it tapers down almost like a bat that they can hold. But these are just statues as far as you know.
Oh, just statues.
Of course.
I turned to Seamus. Seamus, I think this dirt is stained with blood.
How loud are you being right now?
I don't like this place. Kind of whispering, It seems kind of like
How about we make a stealth check? I like that.
Oh, I don't.
I like it though.
You're gonna get us killed.
Oh yeah, that's an 85 out of
you
26.
So you lean over your shoulder to start talking to Seamus. Seamus, are you how nearby are you to him?
Did he walk up when
he moved ahead of you, not
away?
very far, a couple feet. Are you keeping pace with him, or are you going to stay where you were?
I would probably be within like 5 feet of him.
Okay, so he kind of glances over his shoulder and a little bit louder than he intended. He says those things to you, and Seamus, as he's glancing back in your direction, you see one of the forms shift, and it appears to be sniffing the air. And I need you guys to roll initiative.
Oh yeah, 10.
Okay, let me write this in. All right. How about you, Seamus?
I got a 6.
6. All right. Let me roll for these guys. All right. Okay. So with that, the form shifts, Seamus. You see it move, and you call out almost instinctively, I'm assuming. Are you readying the crossbow?
Yeah, as soon as I see it move, I'll unsling it. Get that ready.
So Marius, you see him quick movement unsling his crossbow, and you instinctively turn back around, and you see the statues that are obviously not statues. One of them begins sniffing the air and then locks what you would think is its eyes with you as the head turns. It grips the club and begins stands up. The one 15 feet from it, and these things are about 20 feet from you to the gate. The other one on the opposite side, you glance over and is doing the same. And they both lock eyes with you silently. Marius, it's your turn. What would you like to do?
Golly. What the hell? I'm gonna charge the closest one with my pick.
Just gonna charge it, huh?
Oh.
Go charge it,
All right.
I don't got any long range weaponry. This is what I do. I hit things with a pick.
Okay.
Run for the gate.
All right, you charge. Okay,
past
so they're both kind of in equal distance from you. You're kind of in the center. So which one do you want to go to the one that shifted first? That would be the one to the right, or do you want to go towards the one that's kind of still standing up to the left?
I guess the one that looks most ready.
Okay, that's like that's the one on the right. That's definitely locked eyes with you.
Okay.
So do you give like a bellow, or do you just charge?
Yeah, I give like a bellow. Just
okay. Kind of cry out as you begin moving.
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll me an attack with +10 for a charge.
All right. That'd be 31 out of 56.
Okay, so how many levels of success is that?
2.
2 levels? All
Wait.
right.
Yeah, 2 levels.
You said 31, correct? Okay. So
Yeah,
it reaches down to grab its club, and it stands up and it towers over you. You can see now as you've gotten closer that the mask, there's almost like nostril holes, and also the mouth is open. And you can see hair, thick, stringy hair, almost, well, not stringy, it's a very straight hair, kind of gleaming out from underneath, almost in a disgusting matted, like braid, 2 braids, almost like a mustache and probably a beard underneath. And the mouth is moving and gnashing these huge teeth about the size of probably one of your fingers. And there's this disgusting waft of death leaves its mouth. And you can see that there is freshly dried blood across its face. And after you run, and you're still in the fog, and you pass through the fog, and it kind of opens up behind him, Seamus, and you get kind of a clear view behind him as it spreads around him through his fast movement. And you swing the pick over your shoulder, and it connects through his right shoulder. What is total damage for me real quick? You normally do 10 plus 2, so the 12?
Yeah, 12.
12. So you're not going to like this, Marius.
Oh, no.
You see it glance into the shoulder, and you feel contact. It pierces through the armor, but it does not do nearly as much damage as you were expecting. Apparently, this creature is both very tough and apparently heavily armored. So you do some damage. You do some, but not nearly as much as you're used to. It doesn't cry out or anything. If anything, it looks more agitated, and it flings its shoulder over, ripping the pick out of its arm. You still hold on to it, of course, and you're just staring at it. Is there anything else you'd like to do?
Okay. With a free action, like really quickly, I just like to kind of shout over my shoulder to Seamus. Seamus, we're in trouble.
Okay. And Seamus, it is now your turn.
Jeez. I guess I'll take a shot at it.
Oh, now
see what happens.
Which one are you going to attack? Because the creature's so big that you can easily take a shot at it over Marius' shoulder, because it is towering over him another 3 or 4 feet. There is another creature beginning to stand off to your left, and you notice that its eyes have locked onto you.
I'll go for the one that Marius is fighting, since that other one is still moving.
Okay, so you level your crossbow. Since it is so big, normally I'd give you a +10, but it is, well, now you'll still get the +10 because it only has like half cover, and you're only 20 feet away. So you can go ahead and make a shot at +10.
Oh boy. Whew. That is going to be a 57 out of 66.
Whew, good shot. All right, so you take it. All right, so you actually take it slightly above Marius's head in kind of its left pectoral region. How many levels of success is that?
Just a success.
Okay, so that's 1. All right. Oh no, not even 1. It's just a success.
Yeah.
So that's 9 damage, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Yep, just
Okay.
9 damage.
Yep. So 9 damage. It spikes into the wood, and you see it dig in. It passes through the armor. You see that, and you hear a thud. It does not appear to have done much in the way of actually hurting this creature. It has done some though, and it kind of, just from the impact, it kind of moves slightly. But you get the idea that this creature is probably somewhere around 500-600 pounds, if not more. And bringing it down is going to be quite some work. So, would you like to do anything else?
If I can use my movement to get closer to the gate, whatever it was that if there was a way out of here.
You can easily get to the gate. It is very, very thick as you close into it. You get the idea that this gate is heavy. Very, very heavy. Go ahead and make me an intuition test.
Intuition. Ooh, that is an 80 out of 41.
All right, so failure, I'd say. You have no idea how the hell to open this thing. It's solid as hell, and you kind of press up against it. It's going to take considerable force to open this thing.
Oh.
It only took you 20 feet to move there, so you have another 20 feet.
I was going to turn back to Marius and say, Marius, I need your help to open this. That will be my turn.
Are you going to stand there, or do you want to move?
I'll probably stand there hoping he comes running over to help me.
Okay. All right. So you stand there, planting your feet, and as you glance over at the end of your turn, the ogre to your now right to you, the one that is not engaged, stands up to its full height, towering just as tall as the one fighting Marius, and shifts to you, Seamus. And takes up its wooden club and charges in your direction. I need
Was this the one that was fighting me?
No, this is a different one. This is the other one.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the second one.
I need you to either roll for defense or try a dodge. If you roll for defense, it is at -20 because the club is that big and the creature is that size.
Yeah, we'll try for a dodge.
Okay.
Oh boy. Oh, damn, that's just 34 out of 27.
Out of 27. All right. Do you want to make it a success, or do you want to just you want to gamble it here?
Yeah, I want to make it a success because I feel like this club is going to squish me.
Spend a fortune point. You made it 1 success. The club, or just a success, not even 1 success. The club comes swinging down at you, and you said you were dodging, correct?
Yes.
Oh, you know what? You don't have to do that. You have a +10 for your momentum.
I do, because that was a hit.
Yeah, so don't worry about the fortune point. You can take that one back. So you got a success already. So yeah, that was lucky. But it comes swinging down, and you dodge. You duck underneath it, and it boom smashes into the gate, and a piece of the gate just jars, and it moves slightly, not much, even at the force that was just smashed into it. a piece of the wood gives a little bit, and you can see a giant scarring in the door itself. You dodge to the side and look up, and the creature just raises the club over its head and looks like it's ready to squish you with its next swing. But that's unfortunately all it can do.
Oh, thank God.
Marius Wolf, the one in front of you after being stabbed with penetrated with your pick and then shot by Seamus, looks down at you and brings the club it has down in an overhead arc, trying to pancake you. I need you to roll a dodge or defense.
I'll roll defense. It's the same, I think. Let me see.
You have a +10 right now.
+10?
You have, because you have a success level. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so it's better to defend for me. This is at -20 though, so -10?
Yeah, so -10 right now if you're defending.
-10. Okay. That would be a 19 out of 36.
You lucky bastard. So you, after having the pick pulled out, you bring it up and catch, just because you're that strong, you catch it, bracing the actual head of your pick in your left hand, and catch the downward swing up above you, and with all your strength, you stop it before it smashes the top of your head, and then push up and knock it backwards. And the creature, though you can't see its face, you can see the mouth, and it looks a little bewildered that this small thing just pushed it back. And that's the end of its turn. You've successfully defended yourself from a damn ogre crushing you.
Oh, God.
So you both have 2 things of momentum now. Do keep that in mind. And that is the end of the ogre's turn. It just kind of gnashes its teeth at you. And it is now your turn, Marius.
Can I quickly just talk to Seamus?
You can use your free action. Yeah.
Yeah. Seamus, I don't think we're going to be able to budge that door really quickly. And I'm going to go attack the ogre in front of me again.
Okay. And we'll go ahead and make an attack at +20 at this point.
Okay. Oh, yeah! It's going to be a 22 out of 66.
Oh, critical success!
Yes!
I knew I was going to need the critical table.
We got that crit table. I need to roll again.
All right, yeah. Roll me another D100.
$25.
25. Okay. Roll me another D100.
$92.
Holy, no, you did not. 92?
92. What's that? What's that mean? What happened?
You cut its head off?
Jesus. Okay. All right. So, there was 4 levels of success. So that is that 14 damage?
14, yeah.
My God. All right, so you take the pick, and after pushing it away, you aim once again for the wounded arm, going to try to take this beast down. And you swing with all your force, and you are a very, very strong man. It penetrates through the bicep and rips the bicep just wide open. And I mean, this thing's arms are about the size of tree trunks, and you can feel just the pain racking through it. It actually bellows out this kind of unearthly scream from its mouth, just and blood just flows across you and just as arterial spray as something very vital was loosened in its arm. And it is actively bleeding profusely. And the arm goes limp. And when it does, the weight shifts to one arm. And though this creature is also very strong and still manages to hold on to the club, though it will probably not be as effective if it has to swing it again. And it almost sinks down onto one knee. It looks very, very hurt at this point. Would you like to do anything else? Marius?
No, probably just
Okay.
just chill there, I think. I already used my reaction, so.
Okay. All right. So that is the end of your turn. It looks very, very hurt. Seamus, it is now your turn. You hear a scream bellow out behind you, though you are probably more occupied with the looming threat above you.
All right. Let's see here. I know I'm running low on arrows. I will take one more shot at the one that I'm dealing with.
Okay, you are in melee?
That's right, yeah. Okay, I'll use my sword.
Okay, so you're going to attempt to stab it.
Yep. My fast sword.
Okay, it is very fast. Matter of fact, I could have given you the option to attack earlier, but I guess it doesn't matter. Since you're going before it anyway. Just keep that in mind that if you're in melee with a creature, at the beginning of the round, you can attack whenever you want.
Oh.
Because you have a fast weapon. Yes. So just keep that in mind from here on.
Right.
If you want to voice that, but hey, I'd like to attack. So that way you can attack before whoever is attacking you. So it doesn't matter because of the initiative order, but just keep that in mind now. So go ahead and make me a weapon attack with plus 20.
All right. Let's see. Yeah. That is going to be a 42 out of 70.
Okay, that's definitely a hit. All right. Let's see here. How much damage do you normally do? So it's plus 4, plus you have 3. So 7. 42, 52, 62. So 2 levels, so that's 9. All right. All right. Yeah. So you draw the blade very quickly and almost in one fluid arc, lash out towards the creature as the club appears to be moving down in your direction, and you catch it very similarly to Marius in the right arm. It digs in through the armor, though not very deep. You do wound it. And in the process, you feel a bit of a surge move through the sword and into your body, similar to when you wounded the deer. And if you were needing any hit points, you would regain a wound, but you don't. So you feel a surge of energy, and yeah, that's only one surge, so I'm going to keep track of that for now, and we'll see how this goes.
All right.
But it does not appear that phased by what you just did to it. Is there anything else you would like to do with your turn?
No.
All right.
That will be it.
That is that. At the end of your turn, Seamus, the creature, after you just kind of lashed out towards it, you don't even have time to sheathe your blade at this point, if you were going to. It brings the giant club down in your direction. You either need to make me a dodge or a block. The block will be at minus 20. The dodge is just a straight dodge. But you are at 3 levels of success, or 3 levels of momentum, so you have a plus 30 to either.
Yeah, I want to go for the dodge. Hopefully
Okay.
it misses and hits the gate again.
All right, go ahead and go make that dodge.
Oh yeah, that is a 18.
Out of...
And it was plus 30, so that will be an 18 out of 57.
So it brings it downward motion, similar to what Marius was doing, and you nimbly move to the side at the last possible second, because it very nearly squashed you. And you feel it hammer into the ground at your feet, and just boom! Bits of dirt and rock just splinter and pelt away at the force of the impact, and you kind of stumble back away from it. It appears to have missed. And then it just glares up at you again. It looks like it's getting ready to swing once more. And that's all we can do. So now Marius, the very, very wounded ogre in front of you, stands back up as straight as it can and swings the club one-handed, since the other hand is just lying limp at its side. And you see a gout of blood just pulse out of the wound in the process. Go ahead and roll defense in some way.
All right. That's plus 10, I think, right? Because minus
it'll
20
be
plus 30.
So you're at plus 30. Yeah, so it'll be just a plus 10.
Okay. That's going to be a 17 out of 56.
My God, man. Just let me hit you. Just let me hit you once.
No!
So it brings it out in a wide arc, and you see it coming easily. And in a deft maneuver, you kind of duck underneath and catch it on the top of your pick and glance it upwards, giving you an opening as the momentum and weight behind it swings it upwards in an upwards motion. Go ahead and make me an attack, sir. Since I'm assuming that's what you're going to do.
Yeah, then my next round. Yeah, okay.
Yep.
It's going to be a 12 out of 86.
86.
Yeah. And we're at plus 4, right?
Yep,
now?
You're at plus 4. So
yeah.
The creature does not have time. The ogre-like statue thing, obviously it's an ogre, doesn't have time to bring the club back to defend itself. You said, what would you roll again? A 22?
12 out of 86.
Oh, 12. Okay. So this time, as it glances, as the blow is deflected away, you take it. Well, you know what? How would you like to kill this thing? How about that? How do you want to do this?
Yeah. So yeah, if arm is kind of exposed.
Oh yeah.
I'd kind of like to just if I can just kind of jump up on his belly and just put my pick in the top of his head.
Yeah. So
motion.
Yeah. So
crack down.
Yeah. As you glance the club upwards, it goes wide and it kind of stumbles back off its feet. And using your momentum and your very, very strong legs, you hop up onto its belly, planting one foot, and then take the pick in an overhead arc and plant it through the mask itself. It goes through the mask, shattering the mask, and a hole punches through its skull, and you feel the momentum as you ride it down into the earth. And it just, boom, blasts. The arms fall wide, and it is stone cold dead. And you are standing on top of it. Is there anything else you'd like to do at this point?
I like to look and just kind of turn towards where Seamus is and get ready to go attack that thing.
You see that Seamus is hanging on for dear life, trying to dodge this creature. Do you want to engage it, or do you want to stay where you're at?
I'm going to stay where I'm at so I can get a charge next turn.
Okay. All right, so you're standing on top of the ogre looking very menacingly, as the blood is, of course, more blood and brain matter spattered across you. Yes.
I'd be at 5 momentum
yes.
next turn. Would that put me at 6? Would you allow me to do 6 with the charge?
Yes. That's the rules.
All right. Okay, cool. That's what I'll do that.
We are capped at 6, no matter what, though. So to keep that in mind.
Okay.
All right. So that is the end of, obviously, the end of that creature's turn. Let's see here. Seamus, it is now your turn.
All right. We'll just keep doing what we've been doing. I assume my back is... Or did I see Marius take that other one down?
You hear the crash. You hear the boom. And you assume either something horrible or something very good has happened behind you. You don't know.
All right. We're going with our another katana attack.
Okay, go ahead and make me another attack.
Ooh, that is a 32.
Okay. Out of...
I'm at plus 30 still. So, 80.
Out of 80. No, I think you're at plus 40 now, aren't you?
Yeah, I think he's at 40.
Yeah, you're at plus 40. So out of 90.
Out of 90.
So, how many levels is that? Success levels?
32 out of 90.
42, 62,
5.
Yeah, 5. Jesus. Okay. 5 plus the 7. So 12 points of... I mean, that's
12 points.
Pretty good damage. All right. And the 32. All right. Similarly, you lash out at the wounded arm, the one that you kind of drug your blade through. And you do it once again, kind of in a backwards motion as you're dodging, and you dig a little bit deeper this time through the armor, and you feel flesh part beneath. And the ogre flinches a little bit, but it's still pretty darn stout at this point, and it just glares out at you.
Ooh, it's too tough. That will end my turn.
All right, you're still engaged with the creature. At this point, it is now that ogre's turn, since the other one is stone cold dead. He went after him, but it's not going to matter. He brings the club now in a sideways swing in your direction. Go ahead and make me a dodge or a deflect.
Ooh, a deflect. What would a deflect use?
Use your weapon skill, your blade.
Okay.
At minus 20, but plus 50, so you'll be at plus 30 for it if you want to do that.
Now we'll try to dodge because it'll still be higher.
Okay.
All right. That. Ooh, luckily I got these successes. That is going to be a 40 out of... was that 5 success levels now?
Yes, yeah, so plus 50.
So 40 out of 77.
Okay, so yeah, it swings, you easily duck underneath it, and it swings wide, passing over you. And it barely stops the momentum of the swing. It thought that it easily took you, but it wasn't prepared for Seamus McCready and his very wily self, apparently, when engaged with a larger creature. Just dodging blows left and right. So, all right. Is that going to be the end of your... well, actually, yeah, that's the end of his turn. So now it is Marius Wolf. You're still standing on top of your defeated opponent. And you see Seamus dodge a devastating blow as it passes harmlessly over him. What would you like to do?
Just grip my pick and just run full force for a charge attack.
Okay.
Just gonna yell, Ulrich's Wrath! And then just try to jump down and try to attack him.
Okay, go ahead and make me that roll.
We'll see how this goes. This was going to be 106 No, 83 out of 106.
Jeez, man. I didn't roll well enough, unfortunately. So that's
I was
levels,
worried in my pocket.
2 levels of success.
All right.
Yeah. No. 3. Yeah. 2 levels of success.
Yeah.
That brings it to 12 wounds, 12 damage.
Yeah.
Correct?
12 wounds. Yep.
So, 83. You guys never roll that high. Okay. You actually, as you're charging, you bring it down and you pierce its left leg as it's swinging towards Seamus. And it goes through into the leg. It goes pretty deep, but you get the idea that it hasn't done that much damage to this creature. And it just kind of looks down at you now, frustrated that there are 2 opponents attacking it. And that puts it at... All right, is that going to be it for your turn?
Yeah.
Okay. So it is looking, it's looking, you guys both have it surrounded at this point. Seamus, what are you doing in this moment? You see Marius fly off to your right and just brings his pick down into its thigh and then pulls it out. A little bit of blood comes out, but not much. It still looks very much intact.
Seamus is feeling pretty confident in himself now that he's held his own and Marius is there to help him. So he's
Exactly.
Another sword attack here.
Okay, go ahead. Make me an attack.
And so we're capping at 6.
Yeah, so anything from here on, you're just going to be at plus 60.
Okay. That is a 41. And that will be out of like 110, I think.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I see where this is going. 50, 60, 70, 80. Okay. This is... It's a foregone conclusion at this point. No matter how much health this thing has, you guys are going to rip through it. So describe how you guys would like to take this thing in tandem. Just to bypass this. Unless you guys want to roll it out, we can roll it out.
I assume we just are just kind of whittling it down, just kind of nicks and blocking it where attack it does.
Yeah.
It's kind of just death by 1,000 cuts,
Okay.
Something cool, like
both of you.
Kratos
How about both of you
Atreus.
roll me a d10 and tell me what numbers you get.
Okay. 3.
2.
Okay, so, all right. So you guys begin assaulting the last remaining ogre, and it's swinging and missing. And Marius, you're planting the pick into it in various spots. You get up behind it. You take it once again in the leg, and this time you don't pull it free. You actually use your strength and pull its leg out from underneath it, bringing it down to a knee. And as that happens, Seamus... You see an opportunity and you bring the blade up under its chin and it passes through the wood and comes up through the jaw and into the roof of the mouth and easily penetrating into the brain. And the ogre, you feel a massive surge of energy into you and it goes stone cold dead. It begins falling forward and Seamus, you withdraw your blade and roll out of the way as it smacks face first into where you were standing. Dead. Defeated.